Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Carol Moulton coming to you once again with Tea Time with Carol. Um, Sorry, you're going to have to excuse my voice today. I am fighting a cold or something. Seriously. And I just finished school. I just turned in my last assignment. So I'm taking the summer off. So I really want to feel well so that I can get out and do stuff. But anyway, I'm not going to rant. No rants today. Just welcoming you in. I'm pouring the tea needed today. So let's do some peppermint tea. That's a nice soothing tea. If your stomach is feeling a little off, peppermint is always good and it smells delicious. So let's do peppermint tea. I have fluffed up the pillows. So come in, seat yourself, get comfy. We're gonna um we're gonna continue with our talk about money. Hmm. That's where we've been for the past couple of weeks, and we're going to continue, but we're not going to talk about money directly. We're going to talk about it kind of indirectly. So come. How have you been this past week? How have you been doing? I know in this section of the world, it's been rainy for the past couple of days. Um, I hear people talking about, oh, they're seeding the clouds because we need the rain. They're trying to cool off the planet. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I know that it's very, very, very green from all the rain, and my tree and my bushes are like looking real crazy because they're like, all the rain is making them grow. But anyway, that's not a complaint. That's not a complaint either. I am not complaining today about anything because I know the Lord is good. And well, let me just share this. We've been talking about money and changing our attitudes about money. And I decided to take my own advice, and try to just be in a different headspace about money. And sometimes that means sort of overcoming some of the limiting beliefs that you may have been raised with. And so I decided to sort of think about things differently. And this week that just ended, people have been calling me, asking me if they can give me money to do a couple of different things for them. And I'm like, yeah. So this week ended with me making a substantial amount of unexpected money just from people, calling and saying, can you do this for me? And they were things that did not require, a whole lot from me, stuff that I didn't have to leave my house to do, but anyway, it was a blessing. It was a blessing. And I know that um a lot of that has to do with my perception of how money is supposed to come to me. And in shifting that opened up a gateway for things to come in differently than I traditionally thought. I was raised with, I wasn't raised by entrepreneurs. I was raised by people who worked 9 to 5 jobs, and no shade. There's not a criticism. And that was important. They worked very, very hard and they supported their families and all of that. But I wasn't taught to think outside of the box, that money could come in any way other than you working a 9 to 5 job. And that's what I was told I needed to prepare myself to do, and I've since learned that money can, when you overcome limiting beliefs, it opens the door, a gateway for things to happen differently than the way you anticipated. But anyway, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's talk about um for a little bit. Not gonna be before you long. I don't like to stay too long. I don't want to overstay my welcome. But we're gonna talk for a little bit about scarcity mindset. And that sort of dovetails with what I've been talking about. When you're raised with limiting beliefs, you at some point actually make a decision that what you've been raised with is true. Sometimes it feels like threatening to challenge that, and it can be as silly as, well, the toilet paper has to be has to be put on this particular way, and any other way is wrong. Or you have to use this particular pot when you cook a chicken, and any other way you do it is wrong. So those are limiting beliefs, but at some point it becomes a decision that you buy into. So today we're going to talk about a scarcity mindset, a decision that you made that resources, whether it's time, money, love, relationship, whatever it is, it's how you view the world and what you believe about the world. And if you believe that resources are scarce, then that's how you're going to see everything. Okay? Because remember, we've talked about the mind, the brain being a reticular activating system, and what you put in is what you get out. So, moving on. If you have felt, does this sound like you? Uh, there's just not enough to go around. There's just not enough. There's um not enough love. There's not enough good men. There's not, or women. There's not enough, money. I'm always going to be short. I'm always going to be, you know having to make do, because there's just not enough. So, you know we're going to talk about this struggle, and where does this perspective come from, because it is a struggle. When you feel like you always have to fight and kick and scratch to put things together, that's a scarcity mindset. So where does this come from? Well, as I mentioned, it comes from your upbringing and your early experiences. It can be that you grew up with lack, or you grew up with instability in your formative years. You um, grew up with, not enough, or with your parents who grew up that way and instilled that in you because that's how they saw the world. So now you're grown, you cute, and you get to make a new decision, and I want to help you do that. So let me talk for a little bit about somebody that I've been working with. Her name is Helen. Of course, that's not her real name. And she came to me asking for help about the scarcity mindset, that she was tired of living like that, and, struggling, and she wanted to make some changes. She no longer wanted scarcity to be her daily reality. So what she told me, and she's given me permission to share this, so I'm not betraying any confidence. But Helen learned early on that resources were limited, and this was belief that, just took hold, grabbed her and took hold. Resources are limited. So it left her with a fear of not having enough, and that was her thing about everything. There's not enough money, there's not enough food. um she grew up seeing the world as a place of limited resources and endless competition. So she felt like she had to compete for a man's attention, for promotions on her job. Everything was a competition to her. So she decided, at some point, this is tiring. This is a bit much. And so she contacted me and asked if I would help her to sort of reframe the way that she saw the world, because she was tired of this. She was tired of feeling like she couldn't take a risk. She was worried about her financial stability, and she missed opportunities because she was afraid. She was there was a fear of failure, so um that that scarcity mindset held her back from so many things. She was stuck in a loop, and this was a vicious cycle that kept her from realizing her real true potential. So what did we do? We started, and look, this is a journey. This is not like a one-way ticket. This is a progress, a progression. So you're going to, if this is something you're struggling with, don't think that you go to sleep tonight and tomorrow you wake up and ta-da, everything is lovely and wonderful and tulips and unicorns and rainbows and all of that. It's not. No, no. So it's a process. It doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be difficult, but um it is a process. And the first thing you got to do if you want to make a change is just recognizing that you hold limiting beliefs, about resources, or limiting beliefs about whatever it is. But you've got to be willing to do the inside work and, stop with your to-do list and stop with the busy work to, sit with you, pour a cup of tea, get comfy, and just, turn off TV, put the phone down, stop scrolling, and, spend some time with you thinking about, is this you? Are there areas of your life that you feel are limited? So, and then once you realize that you got to make the decision, you want something different. I mean, if you're cool with, always running in circles, you know, I can't convince you otherwise. But if you are looking at it and saying, wait a minute, this is stopping me from growing. This is stopping me from being happy. This is stopping me from doing the things that I really want to do, then maybe it's time to change. So, what happens a lot of times, when we're focused on wanting to make a change, we get tripped up when we spend all of our time on how. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And this has been actually, part of my story. Years ago when I wanted to start making changes in my life, I got stuck. I mean, like, for real, for real. And I want to overcome. I want to get better with money, but I don't know how. And if you're not careful and if you don't take real positive action, you stay stuck in how. How do I make $1 million? How do I overcome this? How do I, get more money? How do I make more money? How do I get a promotion? How becomes a stopper because you can't figure it out, and the problem is you haven't made a decision and you haven't decided that the limiting belief is not true. And until you make a different decision, that limiting belief is going to control everything. So you're bumping, you're kind of bumping your head up against a brick wall by getting hung up on how without being focused first on making a different decision. Okay. So we're going to go through this step by step. So don't worry, don't worry. I'm not going to, if you're confused, don't worry. We're gonna get you through this. You know. So you can do things. I mean, there are a number of different ways to do this. If you feel like you can't change all at once, you want to process, then you can start by getting a mentor, getting a coach. That's one thing you can do. Somebody who can help you think through things and start to see things differently. You can get there are an infinite number of self-improvement books. You can do that if you want to work through things on your own. You can start meditating on how to make the shift, well, how? Okay, now that was the wrong word to use, but meditating on removing the blockage so you can see something different, and a way to do something different. And gradually, if you want to, go through that long process, you'll start seeing things differently, and you start seeing abundance and possibilities where before you didn't see it. So part of this is deciding your reality isn't real. Okay, I'm going to say that again. A big part of this is deciding, making the decision that your reality, what you've considered reality, that resources are limited, that's your reality. And that I can't find love, that nobody appreciates me, that I can't get promoted, I don't have enough money. Whatever your limiting belief is, you made a decision that that was true. That was a decision. So a belief is really a decision, so if when you're talking about faith, and you say, well, I believe, God is, the highest is of the utmost. I believe God formed the world. I believe, whatever, that was a decision. Okay. I need you to sit with that for a minute, because it's a different way of thinking about it and a different way of formulating it in your head. If you've never thought about it that way, it it will actually open up possibilities for you where you didn't see them before. So what I want you to understand is your mindset shapes your reality. And so you, beloved, you have the power to shift and change your reality. And for some, that may sound like really scary, or it may sound impossible, but I'm here to tell you today that you can change your reality. Absolutely, positively. You can do it. So I'm going to give you the steps to do it. If you're not driving and if you want to jot these down, this may help you to focus on it a little bit more. So the first step, the number one thing, and this is sort of, I mentioned this a little bit before, but I really want you to get this. Number one, recognize you don't need to know how. Okay, so you've made a decision. You've identified the limiting belief. You've got a scarcity mindset, and now you've recognized that you want to change. So do not get hung up on how. Okay, don't get hung up on, well, how am I going to get $1 million by the end of the year? How am I going to do this? How am I going to find love? How am I going to do it? That will trip you up. Don't focus. Just recognize that you want to make the change. That's all you need to do right now. Okay. And then recognize that the how is going to come after you make the decision to change. Okay. You make the decision, and then how will arrive on your doorstep. And then third, and this one is big, recognize the belief that you currently hold. You have a belief that resources are scarce. All right. But that conflicts with the life that you want, or the future that you want. There's a conflict. And so when there's a conflict, there is no change. So what do we do about this conflict? Well, there are two things you're going to do. One, you're going to make a new decision. And secondly, you're going to look for evidence that supports the new decision. So, okay, so let's stick with scarcity. So you've made a decision, you have a belief, that's a decision, that life is difficult There are not enough resources. You have a mindset of scarcity. All right. And so that decision is in conflict with the life that you want. So let's find, what evidence do you have that your life is not one of scarcity? Well, do you eat every day? Do you have a home? Do you have running water? Do you have clothes in the closet? Do you have food in the pantry? Now, you may not like all the clothes you got, and you may be like, well, I wanted to buy a new wardrobe and I can't afford it. Boo boo. Do you have clothes in your closet? Do you have food in your pantry? Okay. So let's start with just assessing your real reality. Your reality is, aside from, let's put aside the materialism. Do you have what you need to survive this day? So you don't have scarcity. Do you have a job? Do you have a way to make money? Do you have income coming in? Do you have a car? Do you have money for the bus or the subway? Okay, so when you start reframing what you have as evidence that your life is not one of scarcity, and start reframing your life as one of gratitude for what you have already, you can change those patterns in your brain, the patterns that keep you kind of stuck in the same loop. The patterns will change, and the how to increase your income, how to do things, how to attract love into your life, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Don't believe me? Well, Helen has really changed her life. She's got some really marvelous. Maybe I'll have her on sometime to talk about how she has managed to really change things in her life and create and go from limiting beliefs to a life of abundance. So a scarcity mindset is not a life sentence. You're not doomed to that forever and ever. It is possible for I'm talking to you, beloved. It's you. You can lead a life of abundance and fulfillment. What does it require? Well, first of all, it requires self-awareness. You've got to be self-aware. You've got to be able to look without blinking at where you are. So if you spend all your money on Amazon or Temu, with the orange bags, okay, and everything is real cheap, but that's where all your money is going, or on whatever it is, wherever it is that you're trickling money out of your pocket, then you got to become self-aware that that's what's going on. um Recognize that materialism is a trick to keep you self-medicating by buying things. You self-medicate when you binge on Netflix for a whole weekend. You self-medicate. There are many ways to self-medicate. It's not just drugs and alcohol and that kind of thing. And something that this society doesn't really talk about that much is how we escape reality in ways that are acceptable, quote unquote, air quotes with the acceptable. you know Nobody says anything, when the delivery man comes to your door every day. Nobody says anything, because it's just an acceptable way to spend your time and your money. So self-awareness is the first. You got to become self-aware of what you're doing and where your money is going. We'll talk in the future sometime. We'll talk about budgeting and those kinds of things, and making an effort and being willing to change. But if this is what you want, if you want something different in your life, then transformation is going to be worth it, because you're going to see at the end, um, you're going to see what the end is going to be. You don't have to be sitting in a pile of ashes. You can create something different in your life. And I am here to tell you, trust and believe. I'm a believer because I have done it, and I know you can too. Become self aware, take the inventory, and make a different decision. And then the how will come to you. How it's going to happen, how will become very self evident. So I hope that this is helping, that this sparks a little something in you, that you can start making some changes in your life, and see some real fruit and some real benefits. So, my beloved, I'm going to leave you there with that today. Uh, my prayer for you is that you continue to grow and do well, and um, don't wait just for the sweet by and by, but really start to manifest the things that you want in your life right now. And you can do that because I believe in you. And if nobody else tells you today, I love you. I think the world of you. I think as you are absolutely magnificent. And you can do this. And so until next time, this is Carol Moulton signing off with love. And remember, everything you want is on the other side of fear. Until next time, be good, be sweet, love you, take care. Bye bye.